One of the biggest things about not getting what you want initially is that it tests your patience. Like immediately when you don't get something, whatever is in you that is like, hey, like I want this now, starts to like get on it. It's like if you're hungry, you like want to eat something and then you don't get it. And it's like you get more and more hungry. So it's like your patience lessens, you get mad, you do this. And that's what kind of life does in a lot of ways with stuff that you want, whether it's like a relationship, whether it's something career-wise, oh, I want to leave school, or oh, I want to leave this job, I want this and that. There's always something. It seems like there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something that you want to do that you can't because of something else. So immediately we have this test of patience nearly every single day about whether or not we can be content within the process of getting to the place where you want to be. And that's a lot of words, but it's just a fancy way of saying that we got to trust the process that we're on, like this life that we're living, in that what's happening is best for us, even if it's not what we want in the moment. It seems like we have this misconception that the stuff that we want and the stuff that we're after should be the easiest, the most comfortable, all this stuff. And it turns out it's not really the thing. At least in my experience, the best things in life came from the worst moments. It's the, oh, losing a family member. It's, oh, moving. It's, oh, feeling nothing for years. It's, oh, like trying to find home. It's, oh, trying to do all this stuff that kind of push me in a sense to grow and to change and to feel better and to have more peace in life. Whereas if I was comfortable, if I loved everything, if I never felt like pain or felt like, oh, I don't really like this, then I wouldn't make the effort to try and do something to change it. It's honestly a good thing to have a lot of stuff in life that you're not a big fan of. There's a lot of stuff that you're not like, oh, I want this to say, or I want this, or I want that, because it allows you to kind of grow and fill in the gaps. And for me, it was through faith. It was through having faith and having that trust where I could kind of understand, you know what? Okay, I didn't feel that right there because that, and then, oh, that happened because of that. And it's like, it allows you to kind of see that all the stuff that seems like it's just happening, or, oh, woe was me, or, oh, whatever the heck, is actually helping you in the long run. But it's all about just being present and having the wherewithal to see it instead of assuming. Because one of the biggest things that we make the mistake of when it comes to friendships, relationships, and that stuff is just assuming something. Like we assume that, okay, someone looks like this, they're gonna act this way. Oh, such and such told me this about this person. So going into these like introductions, you already have these preconceived notions of how they're going to act, what they're going to do. Da, da. It's the same thing with like celebrities or whatever. Like you meet people like, oh, you're taller than I thought, or oh, you're so much nicer. Oh, this. It's like there's this thing like where we attach something to something, and when it doesn't meet that, it's suddenly like a problem for some reason. When in reality, it feels like the best way to go about things is to just let it happen how it may. So if like, let's say you meet a person, you've heard something about them, just go into it being like, you know what, we'll see what happens. They could be absolutely terrible or they could be great, but I'm not going to try to assign them something or force them into this box just because people have been saying that about that person. Kind of tagging along with this, it doesn't seem that popular for people to trust and have belief in something that isn't already like set in stone. It's the whole thing of like the group thing and all this stuff where when a lot of people like something, it kind of just more and more people will start to like it and stuff like that just because there's a lot of people. People do not want to be alone. That's one of the biggest things I've seen in life, seen in everything. People do not want to be alone. People do not want to be isolated. Most people in life just want to kind of go with the brunch and whatever's popular, whatever's whatever. That's how trends are a thing. Oh, like a clothing item is trendy, so everyone's going to buy it, and then within months it doesn't have any meaning because it's literally just the fact that people are doing it, people just latch on. And that's the thing that I think about with like the like versus need or going through this process is that it's all about doing what's right for you instead of doing what everyone else is doing or doing what your parents say or what friends say or this or what someone on a TV show or whatever stuff like that is doing. It's doing what's right to you, even though if that's tougher, even if that may lead you down a path that takes longer, that is bumpy, that's whatever. It's about doing what's right because in the end, we all have these desires, we all have these things in us. They don't really go away. So you might as well put in the work, do the stuff to get yourself towards that place and kind of dismiss the noise or whatever versus spending all this time kind of going around, moseying around the actual point, just trying to do what everyone else is doing or being too scared to do this, being whatever, instead of just going straight at it. It's just the way to go in order to find that peace and happiness within yourself because you're doing what's right for you. Most of the time it's a trickier route. Most of the time it's a tougher journey. Most of the time you have to have those moments by yourself where you're going through stuff and you don't quite know what's going to happen. Like there's a lot of leap of faith, a lot of stuff you don't know. You kind of need those in order to do things that are better than just service level, just nothingness that will kind of lead you in circles and make you very unfulfilled. Talking about unfulfillment, it kind of goes into like the stuff about like people joining in on liking something or this and that or trying to please everyone is validation. Like this whole thing about needing to be validated for what we do is a bit crazy because obviously, I mean, it's understandable with like family or like immediate like whatever stuff like that, but especially like social media or whatever stuff like that, if you don't get a certain amount of likes or if you don't get these comments or this or that, it affects your mood. And I myself, like there's a lot of times times I'll like make a video and it will do bad, or I'll like see like, oh, people aren't really watching it that much, and I automatically feel worse about myself because I'm like, why can't I do this better, do that better? And it's so dumb because it's like, why do we need other people to validate what we're doing? Like if what you're doing feels right and you're having joy and it's obviously not hurting anyone and doing all that stuff, then why the heck should we care what anyone else thinks? It doesn't make logical sense, but yep, it's this trap we fall into where we kind of let our emotions and stuff be weighed by certain things. Like it's the whole thing about like trying to be seen as like perfect, and why people like, oh, I have this car, I have this, like all the people that show off money and stuff like that, they're just looking for validation. They're looking to be like, oh, cool car, oh wow, like they're just looking for someone to like validate and like make sense of their insecurities that they're trying to cope with by buying something. It's kind of useless, but it happens, and so trying to get rid of that focus, for me, it was just not caring and just caring about like just having faith in the process and understanding that stuff happens. So you kind of just got to go with the flow. But it's tough to try to do stuff when everyone else is kind of doing the same thing. So I understand it, but I think a big thing that helped me was just letting go little by little and kind of just believing that there's a meaning in deeper stuff, and I don't really need to be seen as a certain thing to be happy and stuff like that. Like I can just do my own thing. Like so you can do your own thing. You don't need other people to tell you. Like you can just do it. We're living. It doesn't need to make sense to everyone else to do the right thing. Like if something feels right to you, you're doing it. It's not harming anyone. You're not like effing yourself. Like it's like you're doing something worthwhile. People are like, what the heck, or like writing you off and all this stuff, saying it doesn't really matter. Everyone is so consumed in their own worlds that they'll say stuff and do stuff, but they don't really care that much about what you do. And if they do care that much about what you do, then they have their own problems. I think all of life is about finding the stuff that makes you feel alive and feel like yourself, like feel the most like, hey, I'm doing what's right for me. And a lot of times going to that and getting to that place involves kind of just blocking out the noise, even people like closest to you, in order to get to that spot, which I feel like is part of the process that a lot of people avoid. Like a lot of people won't do specific things because they know that, oh, family won't like it, friends won't like it, or followers won't like it, or any of that stuff. They won't like it, and it's tied to that validation thing. Like I need these people to like what I'm doing, or I won't feel good about what I'm doing. Only validation we really need is within the soul. Like you just need to feel. If something doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. If something feels right, it feels right. It's not really something that wavers. So having that persistence and desire to find what feels right and not letting other things affect you is the best way to live a life where you feel fulfilled and feel like you're doing something, have purpose, and don't get stuck in these ruts and stuff like that. It's just by going after the stuff that actually does it for you. Like instead of just, oh, Bill and Ted and all these guys are doing this, so I must do this, but it doesn't feel right for me. Oh, but I'll do it anyways because I wouldn't want to upset this. It's pretty insane. Just just do what's right to you. Because it seems like all the best things in life are through being uncomfortable, through doing something that, oh, Sasha and Marissa don't think I'm going to succeed doing this, or they don't like that I'm doing this or that, or, oh, I don't know if this is going to work out, or, oh, this. Like, that's the kind of stuff, the stuff that you don't know, that you can't, like, wrap your brain around, is usually the stuff that is the best, because it's the stuff that makes you uncomfortable. Because when you're comfortable, when you know everything that's going to happen, you have a plan in a sense, but when you don't have a plan, when you don't know what's going to happen, that's when it gets uncomfortable. And so if you think about it, like, nothing really outside of the norm can be like gone after if it's not uncomfortable. Like it inherently has to be uncomfortable to get you to that spot because you don't quite know it. It's because it's not what you already know. Let's say someone is going from switching careers from they're going from like a businessman to working in like a science lab or something like that. Like very uncomfortable stuff. Like you've all you know in your entire life is business and all that stuff. Now you're going to a field that you don't know much about. You're taking that leap of faith, but it feels like it's on your heart. Like that's uncomfortable, but in the end, go after the stuff that's on your heart and stuff like that. It doesn't really matter how tough it is. It ultimately feels better. Like it feels nourishing. It feels like you're living a more complete life. So I hope this video helped a little bit. And if anyone out there is struggling, let me know. I'll try my best to help. But yeah, everything has for reasons. Have a nice day. Check out the videos and God bless.